I was running away from home. Like, I didn't have no safe place as a child. All my friends were just bad. Boyfriends were bad. Streets was bad. Parents was not comforting. Nobody's born a criminal. Music is kind of what saved me. You just live in your dreams until they become reality.
After I have that first one, I'm no longer in control. I really wanted to quit. And then I would wake up the next morning and have no choice. I'd lost my identity and I didn't know who I was. I just had nothing left. And I needed help so bad. It all came down on me. I could not pull myself out of it. I had hit rock bottom. I just knew I was gonna die. And I remember just praying that foxhole prayer, like, God, please just get me through this moment. I'll stop doing bad. I will stop everything. The goal of my podcast is to not only educate people on, mental health, but also let people know that they're not alone. Well, Majesti, welcome.
Hi, welcome. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for taking the drive. You just recently moved from the Bronx to Mount Vernon.
Yes.
How you liking it?
It's like a slower Bronx. Like, it's definitely a change because it's like I don't feel like I have to look over my back because it's a new place. But I miss the Bronx because like it's just a fast pace and it definitely keeps you like on your toes. You got to keep going.
For sure. I moved to Florida during COVID from New York City.
Oh, wow.
So just think about that pace. It was, it's much different. I feel like nothing is ever going on where I'm living.
Yeah.
But my anxiety has decreased significantly.
Yeah.
Which has been great.
That's how I feel like moving to Mount Vernon. It's like I'm able to like take a deep breath. Like it's so funny because like even driving around and stuff, it's like you're actually on the like tougher side of Mount Vernon. And for me, it feels like a breath of fresh air. It's just
cakewalk.
Like, yeah, this is nice.
So what was growing up like for you? Did you have siblings? And what was your family dynamic like?
Well, I had one sister. It was just me, my mom, my sister, like, family of 4 in a house. Like, they actually bought the house the year I was born. Jehovah's Witness family and Caribbean family. So definitely very strict, very tough. Like, if you get an A, you could get an A+,
Yeah.
That type of, like, pressure where it's like, go, go, go.
Was mom very strict with grades and education, going to school?
I feel like dad was more strict. And then mom, because of that era, was just more so dad's the head of the household. So, like, we got to do what he says. So she would just more like go with whatever it is how he said.
Okay. And what was early childhood like in the neighborhood you grew up in the Bronx?
It was like the total opposite, honestly. We're in like a household where like, Jehovah's Witness, Caribbean, like I guess a lot of people would say that we grew up really good because we had money, we were in a house, and I'm in the South Bronx. So a lot of people are in the projects and struggling and in poverty, but we were more so middle class. But then right outside, you see like across the street, people getting light. You see people selling drugs. You see like, I remember one time we came out of our house on a Sunday to go to the Kingdom Hall, and there was literally the white tape. Like somebody just got shot in front of our house.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I always wondered, like, why did my parents stay here if they were, like, well off enough that they could probably get a nice house in Colorado for the same amount of money? Or, like, Connecticut. Like, now that I'm an adult, I'm like, everywhere's cheaper than New York City, And just to, like, be in that environment but still be so sheltered. When I got a taste of the streets, it was just like, this is insane. This is fun. This definitely seems like it has more love than most households that have money because it's more so like just go, 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 pressure, pressure, pressure. And yeah, like I became attracted to it.
When did you get involved in the street and start to learn about it? And I'm assuming you saw a family camaraderie on the street as well.
Yeah. Probably when I was 13. I started going to like a public school apart from the school that my father had and stuff. And it was just a different vibe. It was middle school, so kids more have a mind of their own. It was right by the hood. And like one day after school, I just kind of like went to the hood to see what it was about. And ever since then, it was just kind of like, wow, this is nice. And I know like a lot of people would look at it like, what, you had a nice household and like you should have just went home. I look at it like it's more to it than like thoughts and actions. It's feelings. Most of the realest people I've felt was on the street, and most of the realest people that I've met were in prison, on the street, in the worst situations of their life. You know what I mean? when you're so privileged, sometimes you forget to be humbled and you forget how good you have it. And I feel like I'm always just humbled when I go back to like sleeping on the train. Yeah, it was by choice. I could have went home, but I just wasn't happy at home, you know? Or like being in trap houses and stuff. It's like, wow, like I'm free. And that's a freeing feeling because it's not just about the actions, but it's like you feel happy and content.
What was it at home? I mean, you did a great job of breaking down, you know, being, you know, on the street or participate, you know, at a trap house, on the subway, how it's a humbling feeling and it made you almost feel very content internally. Whereas at home, you had it really good, but you were taking things for granted. What else was it at home that kind of drove you away from home other than just being, you know?
Yeah. So I would say like what it was at home was definitely that I couldn't be myself. With my daughter now, I definitely try to do free expression in the house because in a strict household, you're never yourself. You have to be your best self from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. And also next door, like I was, you know, raped and molested by my next door neighbor. So it was just very uncomfortable because we were all from the same island. So my parents being immigrants when they first came up here, like this was like their family basically living next door to each other. So when I did express that, like what happened to me, it was kind of disregarded in a way that just made me feel like I'm all alone in this and I'm here trying to be my best person like at a young age for you and putting so much pressure on myself when I should really just be a child. And then when I like, you know, told you something to really help get me through it because who else to get you through something than your parents, you kind of like, okay, well, like, let's brave it on. Like, we don't want to be embarrassed. You know, like, more so, like, the family name has to stay high because we're looked at like we made a life for ourselves. You know, and obviously this is something of an embarrassment. I was also disfellowshipped because of that, which is in the religion. And at that time, I only had friends in the religion. So, like, it was just a moment that definitely just kind of like, I'll take any friends I can get, like, you know, and I'll definitely take people that are willing to protect me and be loyal to me because I couldn't even find that in my own parents.
Yeah. So when you said when you expressed yourself, it was disregarded by your family and others around you in the household. Did you mean like expressing yourself, like who you truly were, your identity, or did you mean you said your next door neighbor was abusive towards you?
Yes.
Was that what you meant? You shared that with them and they were like, no, we're not going to make a big deal out of this because of our family name.
So I just feel like they didn't handle it the way I wanted to. I did hold it back for a little bit because I was scared that I was going to get in trouble. And this is how strict like and uncomfortable I felt in my household. I was scared I was going to get in trouble because I went over there to get weed from him. You know, we're kind of like family members at the time. But you should never be scared to tell your parents that you're getting abused because of what the consequence could be, because nothing deserves that from anybody. You know what I mean? These are the people that you're supposed to feel safe with. And when I finally did tell them, because they're like, why are you running away? We're going to put a PINS petition out on you. And, you know, just really like pushing back at this time, it was like, well, like the people y'all make me call family raped me, you know. And like everybody was there. It was like a fish fry. So like everybody was there. And they were just like embarrassed. Like I don't feel like they stood up for me. I don't feel like they were like, you know, this is not okay, like what, like I want to fight or something. I'm not saying everybody has to fight, but like definitely make me feel protected because in that moment I wasn't. And so that made me really just like go to the streets more, go to find, I guess, more so my protector, which caused me to be in a abusive relationship with men because it's like, well, I want somebody that will protect me. And these men definitely were protecting me, but then also taking out that strength on me.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know, like just to look how far I've come and be this content with who I am now and find my own strength within myself and know that like regardless of if anybody has my back, I have my back. It's just like, it's humbling because it's like, you know, like nothing can touch me like I have me.
Well, I want to unpack more about how you got to where you're at because I also, I got to see your resume and what you're doing today. And I mean, it's truly impressive.
Thank you.
Like where you are today, because I feel like statistically doing some of the things you've done, people don't don't come back from that. People don't come back from,
Yeah.
You didn't let yourself fall further victim to the incident that happened with your next door neighbor.
Right.
And when you were seeking out that family camaraderie on the streets with, you know, other friends and whatnot, you didn't let that get the best of you. Mm-hmm. So just to forward track a little bit, but backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
What was high school like? And then where did you kind of go after high school?
So high school was fun for me. Like at that time, it was just like I knew I could fight. I was really in the
You were
streets.
a fighter, huh?
Yeah, like I was getting money. So like I was respected in high school. Middle school, not so much. But by high school, like people knew not to fuck with me. Like they knew like, okay, like she's not the one. She's well connected. Like, you know. But also I ended up not finishing high school because I ended up in prison. I caught my first case when I was 16 and ended up going on the run. Ended up turning myself in actually because I was with an abusive boyfriend I was trying to get away from. So that's how the Warren Squad ended up finding me. And once I turned myself in, I did 2 years. Long story short, that 2 years turned into 10 years. I was in a time where it was like me against the world. And obviously when you go to prison, it's definitely you against the world. You got to go in there. You got to like protect yourself. You don't know nobody, you know. And I wasn't a part of a gang. So it was like no like instant protection just because like we're on the same squad or something. It was just me. And so I ended up getting into a fight that turned into them coming to indict me again while I was home already. And I got a 12-month parole violation, and I did 1.5 to 3, ended up doing the full 3 years. So that was 4 years altogether. And then when I came home again, I was already fighting a case because I ended up catching another charge while in prison with the officers this time on aggravated harassment. And that was 2 years. So I came home 2022, and I've been home for 2 years now, doing my music, you know, like taking my passion full force. Because from the time I was in prison in 2019 and I was in SHU and, you know, going through the fights and everything, just, you know, a bad place. Music is kind of what saved me. I have books stacked up with just a cappella raps that I wrote, just trying to get some of the anger and the pain I had out because there was no other way to express myself, you know? Like, it was like either you get this out some way because you keep fighting, you keep catching cases. You know what I'm saying? You have to get this out. And music saved me. So when I came home, like I just kind of went full force into that, and it's going amazing. It's definitely the path that like I see myself taking. So I definitely know that success is right there. You know, I'm already feeling that. That's
awesome. If you don't mind me asking, what was it that got you the first case at 16?
Oh, okay. It was marked down as attempted burglary, but it was me going into somebody's house trying to rob them, and him ending up trying to get back in his house. Me and my friend were trying to run to get away from him. They ended up catching us, and they did give us a 6-5 split, which is just basically 6-month probation. 6-month program, 5 years probation. My friend was able to complete it, my co-D. I wasn't able to complete it because I was in a bad place mentally at that time. I was running away from home. Like, I didn't have no safe place as a child. And I ended up attempting suicide. And when I attempted the suicide, obviously, they put me in a mental hospital for 2 weeks. And so the program wouldn't take me because they didn't know where I was for 2 weeks. And you can't miss 2 days of the program. So that's how I ended up going on the run. And then when they got me, like, it was that or prison time. So they gave me prison time.
Where did you do your time?
I went up to Albion at first, right by Niagara Falls, really deep upstate. And then my second bid, they moved me down to Bedford because I had so much SHU time. Like, I couldn't stay in a medium facility. So they moved me to the max. My last bid, I was in Taconic. So I was in all of the prisons besides workforce.
Wow. What do they do for inmates from a mental health aspect? You had experienced some major trauma at a young age. Was there help for you? in the prison system?
So I would say they try. Same thing with like certain schools, you know, that have a curriculum to teach children, but still children are failing. It's because there's a curriculum there that they're supposed to do and help with mental health patients. But from both perspectives, some inmates take advantage of it, obviously. Like we go to OB and stuff to go see your girlfriend or just, I've done it before. And then when it's time to actually go to OB because like your grandmother passed away and you're really going through something, you're kind of like tortured in there. You know, and so it's on both sides because also, like, even if I did go for fun and games, you take it serious each time. When I first went to prison, there was this program called, like, the trauma program, and it was a 6-month program. The reason why I would say it didn't work is because you're opening a can of worms in a place with some of the ruthless people in the world. They don't give a fuck. Like, they don't care about how you're feeling. You know, some people are just not ready to heal yet. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to see you crying. So I'm going to this program. I'm like really wanting to heal. And I'm opening up about these hard wounds that I haven't healed with yet, like my uncle raping me and so forth. And one of the girls who was in the program actually threw it back in my face. That was one of the first fights I had in the yard because, like, you're saying this out loud in front of people that's not even in our dorm, you know, a dorm that's supposed to help us heal through our trauma. So it's definitely hard to get the mental health help you need because it's just abuse from both sides. And it's not a safe space. And people, even people that haven't been to prison, like to say, well, prison's not meant to be a safe place. But then it needs to be because when people come home and start doing these crazy stuff, it's because they've never healed. Mm-hmm. It was never set up for them to actually, like, heal and be able to come back into society rehabilitated. It was just restraint, restraint, restraint. So they come out as an animal, like, you know, and a lot of people aren't strong enough to be like, let me come home and like go heal or find a therapist or do music or see, it's just kind of like there's no safe space. You know what I mean? So like even the therapist they gave, you know, you go see once a month. Every time I would go, she'd be like, how's your brother? Or like, it was Carolina you were living in. Like, no, I never said none of these things. Like, you just don't care. So like, what's the point of opening up about it? So unless you take the initiative to, like I did, you know, some people work out, some people write, some people go to God. Like, those are the only ways I've seen that you can help yourself mentally in prison because trying to get it from them is not happening. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, they're not equipped for it, and they really think it's just restraint and, like, you know,
punishment,
like,
all punishment.
Yeah, like no type of rehabilitation, no type of like this person is still human. And let's think that before that, this person was a baby. So how I look at it is nobody's born a criminal. So people are born. And things happen in life as a child and the mistakes that are made and maybe the people that raised them or the people that hurt them. And these is what creates this person to be this bad person. That can be changed if people that are loving come in and be like, you know what, like, you're okay. Somebody cares about you. Because that's what changed me. Like, people coming in and being like, I love you. And just for you, unconditionally, you know. And not like with conditions or like, you know, with pain behind it. Or like I have to think, is this person trying to use me too? That's where the torture comes in. If somebody's going to feel like that constantly and feel like because I have a felony or because I'm this, like, now I get treated this way, like, where's the healing? Where's the love? Where's the compassion that you want this person to have for you? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So
it's crazy you say that about the therapists that were in the correctional facilities, like not remembering your name, or you need to build. For me, I go to therapy. It took like a year for me to just build trust with my therapist, for me to tell him things and for me to get vulnerable in front of him. Now, put me in a prison and then with a therapist who just doesn't care, who can't remember my name, forget it. I'm never going to heal.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you sharing that. And I think it's important to highlight the lack of resources that people have in prisons in the U.S. Finland, their population is it's about 6 million people in Finland. Their prison systems, they're all about rehabilitation, and they do a phenomenal job of rehabilitating the people, the prisoners that are in their detention facilities. And their repeat offender percentage is significantly low. It's lower than any country out there.
I believe it.
And they give them a new identity, actually, too, when they leave to start over, which is absolutely wild.
But that's beautiful to have a new identity. Like the jobs we have in prisons here, like I was a welder. I mean,
in prison, you were a welder?
Yes.
No way.
Yeah, 6 months of welding, garbage cans, and the barbecue grills that you see in the park. Those were made by prisoners, female prisoners at that. Yeah, like the clothes, the core craft, the soap. And it's so funny to me when I'm here, like they're like, oh, you know, we want to arrest people for not paying for like the Metro card. Like, I welded your garbage cans. I paid my tax dollars. You know what I mean? Like, because me welding, you know, not trying to say like it was fun. I learned a new skill. But is that something that you really see a woman doing when they come home? And if they do, right, like what kind of self-esteem is that?
Yeah.
Like, I look at the women that are home now, like, when I came home thinking I was going to be a welder, it was like, huh. Like, I went to the actual, like, program they have for us, and the first thing the woman said was, oh, you think you're going to be wearing those nails and those lashes? Wow, just discriminate me off rip. You think I can't weld because I have nails and lashes on? You know what I mean? But then still saying that they're not discriminating. It's like you are, because you're just assuming that I don't want to work hard. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like the programs they had in the prison, it's like, oh yeah, we have programs to rehabilitate you. Horticulture, custodial maintenance, building maintenance. To me, in my mind, what that looks like is when you come home, this is all you're worthy of. You're never going to be nothing but a janitor, a welder, or the people that do the bad jobs. Like, how come we don't have things that teach us how to do podcasts, or teach us how to do music, or teach us how to engineer, or teach us how to really use our creative skills in prison? So that way it's not being used on other things. You know what I mean? Because that is something that's actually making sense in the world now. So when somebody comes home after doing 25 years, it's not like, oh, I want to be a welder. They don't need us no more. I looked up jobs for welding. I can't find one. You know what I'm saying? And if it is, it's dangerous. Like, but then if I'm coming home, right, or somebody after a long set of time and like, oh, they need an engineer. Oh, I learned how to do that in prison. Or they need a podcast, or they need somebody who knows how to use a camera. I learned how to do that in prison. These are skills that could really help somebody rehabilitate and help somebody be helpful when they come home and not be looked down upon because they don't have no skills that make sense.
I feel like a lot of people, when they get out of prison, want to change and do something different when they get out. I mean, you have someone, let's say they're a repeat offender with drugs. Right. And they sell drugs. That's all they know. Right. They get out and they know that they probably go for a few interviews. And yeah, I mean, listen, some companies they discriminate. And, you know, oh, you have a felony on your record. No, you have a felony on your record. No, you have a felony on your record. No. And then you just keep getting rejected. And it's like, fuck, well, I got to go back to what I know. Right. And that's selling drugs. And I can make a shit ton of money doing it. And I could do it quick.
It's true.
Why not?
Absolutely. Like how I look at it, like people say like it's not impossible to get a job when you come home. It is not. I've had jobs when I came home. I worked at Planet Fitness. I worked at Spyscape. You know, I worked at these type of stores, McDonald's, all that. But like if we really think about it logically, who are working at these stores? 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, because they can't pay no real bills. You understand what I'm saying? It's like you can get a job as a prisoner, but a job that's only paying you $16 an hour in an economy that makes you like really you need to be making at least $21 an hour, $30 an hour to be even okay. Like, and that's without you spoiling yourself or giving yourself self-care, just you surviving and not being homeless on the street. So for people to be like, oh, you can get a job, like, oh, I've seen somebody be a doctor. You don't even know what they had to go through to get that. Like, in order for me to get my security license, to get any of the license that I wanted, because I did the life insurance, I did security classes, I did medical assistant when I came home, all of these things I did. You have to get the certificate of disposition from all the charges. 2 of those are in Albion. Albion is 13 hours away. Then because I have 3 felonies, I have to go to Albany and go before the courts to convince them that like I'm good enough to get a certificate of relief, to get a license. So, logically, it's like you're better off doing music. Either that or it's back to the streets for you, girl, because you're not going to be able to survive without somebody helping you the whole way through. And like, who wants that? You know, who wants to like just struggle the whole way through, not be able to save, not be able to really live for themselves after going through such a crazy like life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of people look at it like, oh, music is like, you know, maybe get a real job or do this. I look at it more so like music is a real job for me because the other options is insane. It would be like welding again. You know what I mean? Like I could work at Burlington. That's $16 an hour to really go through hell every single day. Like I'm getting paid just to like go through that, and that's still not enough. After taxes come out, you getting what, $200, $300 a week? Anybody who really, come on, like,
I hear you.
that's gone. Like,
That's not, yeah. It's,
you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, what are your better options? Working for yourself, being a business person, being an entrepreneur when you come home. I see a lot of people that make it. They're doing clothing lines. They're doing podcasts. They're doing like music. They're doing things that are not behind the desk things because that's the only way you're really going to be comfortable and be able to heal yourself from the experience you went through. You know what I mean?
So let's get into the music now.
Yes.
But so you are in prison on and off for about 10 years. You have a, a violation, a fight, fight here, fight there, 3 felonies. That's good for you. Good for you. No, but you want to know what's crazy? All right, 3 felonies.
Yeah.
You said it was fighting, violating probation, and then, all right, I get it. Going into someone's house and robbing someone's house.
Yeah, that's the only one that makes sense to me.
That's aggressive. It is.
Yeah.
But you were 16.
Right.
It's bad, but it's like you're an adult at 18. Anything under that, your brain is not fully developed.
Yeah.
Yes, you should have been in trouble for that and gone through a proper rehabilitation. Anything after that was a fight that, and I get that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have a temper. I have a temper. I've gotten better with it the last like 5 years or so. But I used to get into fights with people. I could have easily violated probation. I'm no different from you, right? So yeah, you have those felonies. You're not a bad, I've been talking to you for a while, like outside, like you're not a bad person.
Yeah. Thank you.
You know, and it's like, it sucks. And things do need to change with our prison system, rehabilitation, and then the opportunity for prisoners when they get out to make something, because that's going to make a better U.S. That's going to make a better economy. That's going to make a better community for our kids to grow up in.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about, you've made tremendous growth the last 2 years. Before we get to the growth, what was it this time that when you got out in 2022, you were just like, no, that's it. I'm not doing this shit anymore. I'm chasing my dream. What did that look like?
That was actually in 2020.
Okay.
So I came home in 2020 due to COVID. Thank you, COVID. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but for prisoners, it was amazing. They were kicking us out of the prisons. You didn't have a bunkie. Like, you didn't have to be around nobody. It was chill. Like, get away from me, 6 feet, everybody. Even officers, you know. So
I'm allergic to COs.
6 feet. So when I came home or whatever, while I was fighting the case, they basically said because of COVID, they didn't know like when they were going to come get me. But because it's not such a serious charge, we were the ones that were being let go, which shows that I didn't even deserve to go back to prison. Like, you know, obviously they're not letting out like the murderers and stuff, but like the lesser charges, felonies and stuff, yeah, like go home until like we have space and then we'll bring you back to prison.
They were bringing people back?
Yes. So they let me go home in February, and they said because like of COVID, they didn't have space. They had to let people go because now you can't have bunkies, nothing. So it's like the felonies are going first, you know, then the D, but like ABC, you stay there, like, you know. Anyway, so I was home. And I was with my boyfriend at the time. He did music. He took me to the studio for the first time. And I was writing music in prison since I was in SHU. Like, when people were like, you are terrible at this. And I was like, I don't care. Like, I like it. I like the way it made me feel. Like, you know, so I just kept getting better and better. And I came home, and he was like, you sure you could rap? And I was like, yeah, let me get on the song. And he did. And I was nice. Everybody in the studio, and this is how you know you're nice. When not just your man says it, but everybody in the studio is like, yo, and then like start coming up to you like, what's your name again? And being like, yo, like, you know, I want to get a song with you. You're like, oh, I got the sauce. Like, you know. So I made a couple songs then, and I was just starting to feel the life, and like, you know, he was introducing me to people, and it just seemed plausible. it seemed like the most plausible thing for me at the time. So in August, when like, they called and was like, okay, COVID's lessened, like time to come back to prison.
Did your heart drop?
I wanted to run. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to run. Like, I thought they was never gonna call me back. I honestly, in my head, was like, they're just gonna like be like, you know what, drop those cases. Like, because this doesn't even make sense. Like, this happened while I was in jail and I'm home now. I'm like, I got off parole and everything. So, like, I was actually free. When I went back for this charge now, I had a new number because I was home so long. I was off parole. Yeah, so they made me go back, and I was going to run, but because of music, honestly, it was like, just go do the time. And when you come home, like, get on bullshit. Like, get into your music for real. Like, take it serious. You got a little taste of what that feels like. You can do this. And so I went, I did that time. That is why, like, that last bit, like, I didn't really fight. I remember I got into one fight because we was gambling, and I didn't even fight her, like, because I knew, like, it's not worth it. Mm-hmm. It's not, like, how you get, like, you know what I mean? Like, I was really in, like, solid dream books, like, vision boards, like, what I want to see when I go home, write, buying beats on my tablet. Like, I was really just, I guess, from 2020 to 2022, I was just preparing myself so that when I came home, it's like, you have a game plan. Now you just got to, like, produce, And that's what I started doing. My first song I released was Betty Boom, which is definitely gritty. That is how I like it. That's how I get my anger out, my music. So it just makes sense that my music's more on the gritty side. Then my second single was Perky. I released Betty Boom in 2023. This was after I had my daughter, and me and my baby father, we broke up, and I was just like really feeling free. And I released it, and I did the music video in August. It was my first music video, and I loved it. I'm so proud of myself.
I saw it. I saw it. It's like really well done.
Thank you.
It's like professionally done. You're the real deal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then
you
did Perky.
You could flow.
Yeah,
you could flow.
I appreciate that.
You hear some people, and it's like this. They can't flow, and why do they have a record deal or whatever?
Yeah.
You can flow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. I remember it's so funny because people used to tell me, like, I couldn't rap. And I couldn't. I'll be honest with you. Like, I just started, you know what I mean, in 2019. So, like, the growth, because 10,000 hours, like, is real. It's just, like, now I can rap really well, actually. Like, and, like, I can produce on seconds, like, with like, I can't freestyle. But I think that's just more so because of my anxiety, because of the mental health, like PTSD that I go through. Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of like I freeze up. Mm-hmm. But if somebody played a beat, by the second verse, I would have a freestyle for you. Like I just, like I'm just thinking in it for a second. So that like on demand when somebody's like rap, it's like, who are you? Hold on, like give me a chance to breathe, But yeah, like now I have 8 singles out. One of them is the song I wrote for my daughter. Perky that I dropped New Year's Eve with the video, Body On, the Sandy Cheeks, the SpongeBob inspired. So it's just like the growth is going, the progression is going. And even though it's not as fast as I feel like everybody else is, to me, after being in prison for 10 years and going through everything, like this is fast as hell. And it feels so good and so refreshing to definitely not just be succeeding, but inspire people that feel like they couldn't do it. Like, another thing you have to go through when you come home from prison is like, obviously other people come home with you. Even if you didn't like them, really, you guys have something in common. You guys were both locked up in the same place and had to go through the same pain and the same struggles. And a lot of those people overdosed, are gone today. Like, a lot of those people are back in prison for their 4th, 5th, 6th time. A lot of those people are really struggling in life, period. And a lot of those people reach out to me still today when they see what I'm doing, and they see when I was at my worst. They see when I was wilding in prison, when I was fighting officers, when I was acting like a complete animal. And they see me today, and it's like, yo, like, I'm so proud of you. And that, like, really just inspires me because it's like, even if they're feeling down, that lifts you up. To know somebody that's gone through something crazy and is doing so great, like, just greatness to me is happiness, like pure content. Like you can see like this person is happy with life, and that just, I just want to inspire people and really like give people that push to keep going, like the push I kind of needed all my life, you know?
Yeah. How old is your daughter?
My daughter's 1.5.
That's amazing.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. Thank you.
I have a 5-year-old daughter.
Aww,
Yeah, it's the best thing in the world. It really is.
Yeah.
I don't miss a second with her. Me and her mom are very good friends today. We have a good relationship, thank God.
That's
we
good.
co-parent really well together, and it's all about my daughter. And I mean, you are going through it now, so you probably can relate. I have learned so much about myself.
Yeah.
Raising my daughter, patience, just, you know, a whole different type of love, you know, and
It's definitely, I feel like I owe her the world, and I don't feel, I know. That's definitely the motivation that keeps me going. Like, you gotta make it. She needs everything that you didn't have. She needs a safe space. She needs the support. She needs the love, because she does not deserve to go through what you went through, because you didn't deserve it, you know? So it's like, it definitely allows me to step up to the plate 10 times more, because it's like, it's my job to protect her. It's my job to give her everything that she needs, all the lessons that she needs, all the happiness, the joys. Like, honestly, it's definitely a different type of love. And it's uncomparable having a child, and even just watching somebody grow from baby to like when they're going to be our age. It's just like, whoa, I made
it's
you.
crazy. And it goes quick.
It goes so fast. Like, she's so smart now. She be
awesome.
saying walk, like try to grab my hand and telling me to walk places. She goes get her juice.
Oh, she's bossy.
Yeah.
She's like her mom.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yeah. The child protection gate is honestly just there for show. She be opening it, going in the kitchen,
Tearing
closing
down.
it back. Like, she's such a good baby though.
That's
like
great.
she didn't cry when, like, in the beginning. She doesn't really do much now, like, besides just so goofy and happy, which I love to see.
Yeah.
But like, as far as fussing, unless she's tired or hungry, you're not gonna hear that from her. When she be on the bus and the baby's crying, she's looking like,
Bitch, shut
why?
up.
Yeah,
No, I'm just
like,
kidding.
why are they crying? Well, they don't look like they happy. Like,
Yeah.
But I definitely just try to instill, like, I'm always positive.
Yeah.
Even if, like, something's going on bad, it's like, you just live in your dreams until they become reality. And I'm firm on that. Like, I don't care what's going on. I'm like, okay, I want to be a Grammy-nominated, Platinum Award-winning artist, and that's what I'm going to be.
I love that. The
Thank
drive,
you.
the confidence. And it's all like, you're saying it and I'm buying it. I'm like, okay, like this is, so I noticed when you were let out during COVID and you had to go back in and you were thinking about running, but you didn't. You decided to go back and do your time. I feel like based off of your story, running was old Majesti.
Yeah.
You took accountability in that moment. And that is a huge game changer.
Thank you.
And you did mention it was music and you found a passion. And you're like, all right, let me just do this time and then chase my passion, because now I know what my passion is and I can work on it too while I'm in there. What else was it that really, you know, just pushed you to take that accountability? Were you just sick and tired of dealing with the bullshit?
Yeah, like, it was the first time I felt free. As I've mentioned, like, I was in abusive relationships. So those were very toxic. When I came home in 2020, my last abuser actually, like, passed away. He ended up killing his girlfriend and himself. And that was just very freeing, because it was like, I don't have to look over my shoulder. The guy I was with at the time, he wasn't perfect. I'm not with him now, but he was safe. I didn't feel like he would actually ever hurt me in a physical way, more so, you know. And it was freeing. It kind of felt like, for the first time, I had a future. Like, for a while, I just kind of felt like, where do I fit in? What's in it for me? You know, like, all my friends, like, were just bad. Boyfriends were bad. You know, streets was bad. Parents was not comforting. So it was just like, where's my place in this world? And for the first time in 2020, I felt like I had a place. You know, I kind of felt like there's something worth I'm not going to say, I would want to say living for, because like, but I don't mean it in the way where it's like I wanted to die. I was always outward rage more so. Attempted suicide was more so my cry for help, so that like, you know, I can get that love that I was dying for. But I want to say living for because like, you need to live, you know? I can't remember that line, but it was like just live. Like, don't let life live you, you know what I mean? And it just gave me a reason for living. Like, I could see myself getting married. I could see myself having a child now. Like, I could see past the dark clouds again and, like, sunshine and, like, wow, Majesti kind of, like, can be something better than just, like, I hate the world. Like, I'm just, you know. And that just kind of gave me that focus up. Like, you can get there. Like, you're her, you know. And don't let nobody tell you different. And then you're an adult now. So really, nobody can tell you different. Like, you don't have to be in your parents' house if you don't want to. You know, you don't have to, like, listen to anybody if you don't want to. And that's why it was just kind of like, get this time done. Because at the end of the day, like, you learn the people you really don't want to listen to is the police. Like, so, you know, I could either keep running from them and still have to listen to them and let them control my life, or just give them this last 2 fucking years of my life. Boom. And after that, like, I know what to do to stay off parole. I'm not an idiot. I'm not a drug addict. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was just healed enough. I wouldn't say I'm fully healed. I don't think you ever fully heal. You just continue to evolve. But I was healed enough that I knew I wasn't going to go home and go on drugs. I wasn't going to go home and succumb to some, like, guy. And I wasn't going to go home and just, like, give up. So it was just kind of like, you got this. You can do this. And once you get home, work for whatever time the parole, do what you got to do, stay in the house, like, get things done around the clock. And then once you get off parole, live your life. Like, you're done with these people. You're finally free, from all tormentors, you know. And it's just like, time to live. Like, everybody else lived. It's time for me to live, for me.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
So I could imagine with a music career, just getting it off the ground. I mean, you're into it now for a little while. Just getting it off the ground, even for business owners out there, entrepreneurs. I started my podcast 5 months ago. There have been so many ups and downs and discouraging moments where I was like, fuck, like self-doubt every single day. I'm not going to be good at this. I'm not good at this. There's probably a listener right now shaking his head like, yeah, he does suck. He's not that good. But I like the guest, so I'm going to listen.
Right.
How much of that did you experience? And what did you do? I mean, I could imagine it was very discouraging at times.
A lot. Definitely the music industry is not some easy. You know, no industry is when it comes to arts. Not the fashion, not the podcast, not the content creating, just none. But it's definitely way more harder when people want to gatekeep, so to speak. And what I mean by gatekeep is, okay, I'm coming in and out of prison for 10 years, but obviously I'm nowhere near caught up with the fashion, the trend, what's in style. You know, it's a lot of things I'm lagging on. And what I've always loved is that people have helped me see my confidence because they see me with so much potential that people like to hold those type of informations back from me. So when I started with the music, I didn't even know where to perform at. I didn't know what studio to go to. Like, I would ask people, and people like, I don't know. Mind you, they're dropping a song every day, and it's just like, bro, I'm not asking you for money. I'm just asking you to tell me what studio. Like, how do you go about this? How do you, like, I didn't even know how to get my music on, like, places like United Master. Now it's coming up in my algorithm because I already know about it. But, like, I did not understand Instagram, anything. So I watched a whole bunch of YouTube videos. I taught myself like you would study anything, like in college, you know, and I have those skills. And it's like, just figure this out. Google every fucking thing. And I did. And then I would go on other people's page that were also small artists, and I would look to see what promoters they follow. When I see events, who'd you tag? Like, I don't care. I'm going to be Inspector Gadget. And I went to my first performance. People loved me because I'm always a firm believer. And once I get in the door, my personality it got me. Like, you know, like you see what you got, you know. So it's just kind of like get in the door. Performing was definitely hard. There was times I would go to performances and I would stay the whole time and still not get a chance to perform because I didn't know anybody, or they tried to play me because they just wanted money at the door. And you're some small artists. Like, we don't care. We know you're going to like sell for your dream and stuff. So it sucked that sometimes there's like wardrobe malfunctions, you know, like friends trying to steal your craft that you thought were your friends, but they're really just like in the industry. They were never your friends. I would say this year, I had lost my job in December, and when January started up, it was like, go 10 times hard. Like, you know you're her. Like, what is it? You put on makeup, a wig, like, do this, get it done. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, that's how you guys are doing this? Let's go, because this is really not an option for me. Like, I have 3 felonies on my record, and I'm not about to be working at some Arby's. So that's what I did, and I just went 10 times hard and really embodied myself and just... And 24/7. I think people don't see the behind the scenes work, and that's what they don't understand. It was definitely a lot of mess ups on doing my own hair because I'm not rich. Like, you know what I'm saying? On doing wardrobe looks, on figuring out how my body looks fluid and how to really like embody the best version of me, you know, because I've never been taught that. I didn't have that. Like, I was definitely a ruck neck type of girl. So it was just kind of like, what? Be girly, you know. And when I got that and I walked in like to those first doors this year, it was just like so awesome. Like, I've been blessed to be at Capella Gray studio sessions with Cash Cobain, like, you know, on different tours with different 20 versus 1 content creators podcasts. And it's just kind of been going up, like the consistency, the doing everything with an intention, and really leaving no open spaces. Like, you know, everything's so fast paced now. So it's like, all right, I know I can rap, but with my music, let's do a music video. Let's do looks. Let's really get everybody involved. Let's do performances. Let's just go hard, go hard, go hard. Connection, connection, connection. And just get in everybody's face until they see Majesti. And they're like, okay, well, we have no choice but to leave her here because she's not leaving.
When you have determination like that, you will make it. It's just a matter of time.
Thank you.
I respect that. I respect the shit out of that. I really do. What piece of advice would you have for the listener who is going in and out of prison, who thinks they don't have any purpose in life and really no direction? What piece of advice would you have for that listener?
I would say that's a lie. And the reason why a person would feel that way is because there's a lot of pebbles that's blocking up the water fountain of foundation, of purpose that, you know, and I know everybody doesn't believe in God, but there is that has been put in us since we was born. And once you remove those blocks, and those blocks are people that tell you you're not good enough. Those blocks is the prison system that's telling you you're never going to make it. The COs, your family, your friends, whoever ever doubted you. You remove those blocks and get back to that water fountain of like growth, of progress, of your creativity, because we were born with that as children. And it's so clear when you look in a baby's eyes, you know? You'll get there. Like, you will find your passion. You will find your drive. It's inside of you. And if you can't find it, it's because you're not listening to yourself. You're listening to others. The biggest advice I can give is just listen to you and what you want. Everybody else is living their life how they want.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
Well, before we wrap up, plug your music to the camera.
Okay.
Where can people go? What you got a new single dropping, right?
Yes.
So plug it, please.
Okay, so I'm Majesti. You can find me on Instagram as Majesti Me Please. Majesti with an I, not a Y. Me Please. Also, you can find me on Spotify, iMusic. Is it iMusic or iTunes?
It's
I.
Yeah.
YouTube at Majesti with an I, Majesti. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course.
And I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
1 year from now,
yes,
you fans, you heard it here first. 1 year from now, she's going to be super famous, so you better watch out.
Yes.
Thank you again, Majesti.
Thank you.